Welcome to Integrative Mystic. This is Anne Vivian speaking. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to be talking about intuition today. We're talking about rebuilding our trust in our intuition, in our sixth sense. If you've been able to trust your sixth sense before, but somehow you need couples therapy between you and your sixth sense, or maybe you never really trusted your sixth sense as far as you can remember. In either case, we're going to be exploring connecting, trusting our sixth sense, some obstacles and some suggestions for navigating that. I'm excited to talk about that. It's something personal to me and something that's come up with me in my life before that I'd like to share. And like always in this show, I'm going to talk about the activity, the subject du jour, and then I'm going to pull a few cards for the week ahead. And I just want to remind you, I am on the amazing, magnificent mindbodyspirit.fm podcast network. Check out my show, obviously, there and on Spotify and iTunes. And I have a YouTube channel, Creative Psyche Studio. Please subscribe if you'd like to receive my episodes as they come out, and check out the other amazing podcasters on mindbodyspirit.fm. They are pretty fantastic. And I know we've had some new ones come on. I'm so excited and honored to be a part of this podcast network. So check it out. So let's get to it, shall we? Take a deep breath. Come in, my friend. Come into this mystical, multidimensional space, the world between worlds. We're connected with the stars, the starlight. We're connected with the earth and nature and earth energy. We're here in this time and space, and realize with me, we are multidimensional Mercury retrograde magicians. We're multidimensional magicians, and Mercury goes direct this weekend, so that's something to be grateful for. And we're integrating earth, air, water, fire, spirit. We're in an integrative space with all of the elements, with all of these dimensions, and expressing it in this magical moment. And I am honored to be sharing this magical moment with you. I am. Welcome. Intuition, y'all, our sixth sense. If you're tuning into the show, you have there's a good chance you are probably very intuitive, interested in intuitive development, believe in psychic phenomena. And I really see our sixth sense as our connection with source, our channel with spirit, with our higher self, with our angels and dream team, spirit guides. I see it as a very spiritual type of intelligence and consciousness that connects us with a type of consciousness that is beyond the ego, that is beyond this 3D time-space reality. And it's one of the ways, using my intuition is one of the ways I've navigated my life and has gotten me through some pretty dark times of trouble, some pretty trying times. And I was inspired to talk about rebuilding your trust in your intuition and your sixth sense today, because something came up with a friend of mine, another psychic friend of mine, had an experience in which she is very accurate with reading others and tuning into the psychic guidance and information for others. And she felt like she was just really off with something in her life. And, you know, that's happened to me before. Has it happened to you? And maybe you're still in the process of getting in touch with your intuition for the first time consciously in this life, or the first time consciously since maybe childhood. But if you are already in touch with your intuition, have been working with it, maybe even use it professionally, and you found, wow, I am really accurate, except for maybe these few times. And a lot of times when we're using our intuition professionally, it's the personal application where we question, why did I seem to be off? I'm so right about, or my intuition seems so on about so many things, right? But then, have you heard this before? Has this happened to you? I was so off about this person or this relationship. Or maybe it's something else. You felt like you were getting intuitive guidance or receiving intuitive information about something, and the evidence turned out to perhaps appear that you were wrong. So let's talk about it. First of all, one of the other reasons that we're not going to really talk about today, but I just want to touch base on that someone might lose their trust in their intuition is you might be receiving or have received intuitions about something quote unquote bad happening in the world to someone else, and you couldn't do anything to stop it, or you didn't because you didn't understand it was an intuition or for whatever reason, and it was disturbing to you. And maybe this has happened to you several times. That's one reason people intentionally shut down their intuition. Something they predict something bad is going to happen, and it wasn't helpful, it was scary, or they experience something scary with their intuition that they find disturbing, and so they shut it down. If this is you, please know you can work with your intuition and ask your mind, body, spirit, your higher self, spirit, to only give you information that is helpful for you. You can specify, I do not want to receive clairvoyant visions or messages about things that are disturbing that I can't change. You're allowed to say that and allowed to clarify, and the different parts of your consciousness will respond and work with you. And so if this is you, I suggest maybe working with a mentor, working with an intuitive to help you through that if you need a little bit of support. But I just wanted to mention that as one possible reason you might have some trust issues with your intuition. And if you're just beginning to work with your intuition in an intentional way, I want to suggest that it's a growing process and a learning process like anything. And we can be so hard on ourselves, and we can have these expectations that we're perfect. And, if we're not 4 years old and giving professional psychic readings, that we're not intuitive, and that's just not true. And we are all born intuitive, and we are in a culture that does not encourage that connection. And if you come from a family that does, I'm really happy for you. And if you're like most of us that had an environment growing up that was not encouraging of your sixth sense, was not validating that that is a legitimate form of guidance, consciousness, intelligence, then you had a journey perhaps of just reconnecting. And so if that's you, I just want to encourage you, be gentle with yourself and keep going. I suggest for any beginner who is developing your sixth sense to keep that psychic journal or that intuitive journal where you just record any and all things you might think are an intuition. You're not sure if it's, wishful thinking or anxiety, or you're just making it up, or it's really a hit. Record it, and then at the end of the week, periodically go back and write down whether or not there's evidence that what you were tuning into was accurate. You'll probably find you have a lot more accurate intuitions than you think when you start keeping a record, and you can begin to get a sense of when something feels right. What are the sort of factors that happen when I'm actually tuning in versus, when I maybe it's an anxiety or a fear or an assumption instead of an actual intuition. You probably will get a certain physical sensation. Some people get sensations in their ears, or the feeling, a gut feeling, a literal gut feeling, or something. I get sensations around my throat sometimes. You'll get, if you're getting auditory messages, more of a sense of what does an intuition sound like, what is the intonation, what is the vibration of that sound like when it's actually on. So I encourage you to keep that psychic journal. But let's get to, if you're having trouble connecting with your intuition because there's an appearance of you being wrong. First of all, are you a perfectionist? Nobody's perfect. Even the most advanced, successful psychics and intuitives in the world are not 100% accurate 100% of the time because we're human. But even if you're like 95% accurate, and then there's that one thing, and often it's personal, how was I wrong about this? Let's talk about how we can kind of unpack this and understand this and heal this. So we can be tuning in to a psychic, we can be tuning in psychically to a situation in the moment and really be seeing what's happening a person, a situation, a question in this moment. And that is the psychic picture we're getting of that person, place, or situation in this moment. And we might even be looking at a future trajectory. And I believe Colette Baron Reed talked about how she used to do predictive psychic readings and, look into the future, and she was very good at it. And she doesn't do that the same way anymore. She looks more at the situation in a multidimensional way, not just predicting the future. And I think this is a really, I like to when I'm giving a reading or using intuition in a session with someone, look at what I'm seeing in a multidimensional way as well. In other words, timelines, probable realities change. So I might be seeing something happen in the future, but guess what? If you change your mind, change your actions, take a different approach to something, change your vibration, guess what? You change that probable reality. You change the trajectory. That's a very strong possibility of what's likely to happen, actually likely to unfold in your life. So you might be seeing in your intuitive impression a trajectory, a probable reality, something unfold in the time space continuum, if you will, that's connected with what you're seeing in that moment. But understand that things change as people make different decisions, as different things happen, as perhaps different events happen that were improbable. Someone jumps a timeline, someone jumps to a different probable reality, and so what you predicted might not unfold, and that doesn't mean that you weren't accurate. And keep in mind, kind of in that same vein, you might also be seeing something but not seeing the whole picture. I think this happens to us a lot, that we'll see one picture, one piece of it rather. We'll see, I see maybe a move happening, but you're not seeing perhaps the whole picture, that the move is connected with something needing to happen in one's personal life that's connected with the move. And so you're not seeing the whole picture of everything happening. I don't feel like that was the best example, but do you know what I'm talking about, my friend? You appear to be wrong about something, but actually you look at what actually happened, and you see that your intuition was accurate, just not seeing all the other components in whatever is unfolding. So take a look. If you think that you're wrong, if you feel like, well, I was wrong about this, I don't trust myself anymore, I don't trust my intuition, and ask yourself, was I right about something but not something else? Am I being too hard on myself? Maybe I wasn't asking the right question. And this kind of goes back to, I was right about one piece of something but not the whole piece. So maybe I'm asking, is it a good idea for me to register for college and take this class in biology? Okay. And I'm getting an intuitive feeling, yes. Or, maybe I'm reading for someone and I'm getting intuitive feeling, yes. And I register for that class in biology, and it turns out I hate biology, and it feels like, or the person I was reading for says, I hate biology, this feels like a big mistake. Well, but wait a minute, was it though? Maybe you registering for that class in biology got you into college, and now you're realizing, oh, I actually want to major in literature. But you would never have gotten to that place had you not just registered for any class. And so it got the momentum going. So you were feeling the pull to college, and maybe either that was the best doorway for you or that person to enter college, or you weren't quite getting the full picture that, yes, college is good, but maybe there's another major that would be better. So ask yourself, am I seeing maybe only part of the picture? Am I asking the wrong question? Maybe the question isn't, the best question isn't, is it a good idea for me to register for this class? But is it a good idea for me to register for college? Is it a good idea for me to register for a class right now? Is it a better idea for me to do some research before I register, or to go ahead and register? What would you like for me to know about the possibility of registering for college? See, now as I'm asking that question, I'm making it a little bit more open-ended, and I might get a more open-ended response. And sometimes when we're using our intuition, we're asking a question, or when we're praying for something, using prayer, or using intention setting for manifestation, we're using words that aren't quite resonating with what the best divine guidance, the best multidimensional energy response really wants to be. And so it's a process of playing around with, what questions am I asking? Am I making assumptions? That's one of the blocks that get in our way, of course, as well, is I'm making assumptions. Maybe I'm getting information that doesn't seem to be accurate because my ego is getting in the way, my desires, my fears, or my assumptions. A lot of psychics talk about it's easier to read strangers than a family or friend because you already have so many assumptions and ideas about that person. And so you might get more accurate information reading someone with whom you don't have any assumptions or history. And you can still give a really accurate reading or get really accurate intuitions with someone you know. But I want to make the point that it's helpful to ask yourself, am I making assumptions? Am I closing my mind to the possibilities when I'm reading this person or situation? Maybe I have assumptions about the situation I need to confront. So rebuilding trust, this is what I suggest. Understand that intuitions may change as you or as others change, or as changes are made. You start thinking or behaving or vibrating differently, and the timeline or the probable reality unfolds differently. Keep that psychic journal. Notice big picture, how your intuitions turn out. Keep records. And I encourage you to contact me if you try this. I bet you'll see you are getting some hits, and you'll begin to understand more what's going on when you're not quite getting it completely accurately. Ask yourself if you're asking the right questions, if you're making assumptions, or if you're too attached to something before even engaging in your intuitive practice. And sometimes, of course, intuitions just happen spontaneously, but as intuitives, as spiritual practitioners and seekers, it's up to us to use our spiritual practice of connecting with source, of asking source to show us, and practicing forgiveness, good self-care, challenging assumptions. As we do that, we help to clean out our channels and take care of our channels, taking care of our mind, body, spirit, so that we can be as accurate as possible. And doing some regular journaling can help you as well. This can help you have some form or some practice like journaling, where you're actually able to debrief and express what's happening with you emotionally, mentally, so that you can get that out of you, externalize it, and then that can help clear up your channels for tuning in intuitively, so that you're not sort of crossing wires with some personal feelings, because intuitions can come through feelings, but if you have some sort of unresolved dominant kind of dissonant feelings happening, that can get in the way of you tuning in. So take care of your emotional self, of your physical self, practice your spiritual practice for connecting with source, and working with your intuition on a regular basis. These are ways to help rebuild your trust. Sometimes you're trying to answer something through your intuition, and it's honestly, the answer wants to come, or the answer is best handed to you by spirit through your intuition and other ways. So consult others, I think the most important thing, ask spirit, connect with your source, your higher power, in whatever way you do that. And as you're asking for clarity, asking to manifest things, asking for guidance, you might notice it comes through your intuition, but it also might come through others. Surround yourself with other positive people, consult others, get into your body, look at other perspectives, look for evidence something seems to be working or not. That can be information to you if you're on or not. Pay attention to other avenues that spirit might be talking to you. If you're only looking for the answer, say through your clairvoyant vision, because that's your dominant sense, pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to, you get the message through a movie or a book you're reading, and see what feels right, what is actually working in my life. And in the end, intuition, of course, can be very accurate without quote unquote making sense. It can, sometimes we need to trust our intuition even when it doesn't make sense. And it makes sense after we follow it and we see, oh, yes, that was the right path. But trust, as you're following your intuition, that you're going to get more evidence if you're moving in the right direction, especially as you're engaging in your spiritual practice and connecting with source and opening yourself to all of the avenues for source to show you, for your angels and guides to show you which direction to go, which is the best direction. So that was my 2 cents on reconnecting with your intuition. It is so important for us to connect with our intuition. It is our lifeline. It is our most direct connection to our higher self. And open yourself to any avenue that spirit wants to connect with you and answer your prayers. But I really encourage you to pay attention to your intuition and work with it regularly. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What is my sixth sense telling me right now? And notice how it opens you up to a whole new dimension of support and guidance and answers. One final thought before we move on to the collective reading for the week. I just wanted to mention that in addition to the possibility that we are seeing something accurately, but then a change is made by us or someone else that creates a different timeline, a different probable reality. And so that's why it appears what we saw wasn't quote unquote correct, but it was correct for the moment. In relationships, sometimes that happens. We grow and change. And in the moment, we're perhaps intuitively drawn to someone or getting guidance, getting intuitions that this is a good friendship or love relationship or partnership. And then it turns out it obviously was not, is because we grow and change, or the other person grows and changes in different directions. And so the vibration changes, the attitudes, the mental energy changes, the emotional energy changes, and then the probable reality shifts. Also, keep in mind, we might be drawn to someone intuitively for a good reason, that we might be really tuning in and following our higher guidance to connect with someone. And that reason is to learn a lesson from that person or from the relationship or experience. And our spirit really wanted to learn that lesson, and it wasn't meant to be long term. And sometimes that's a hard one. So keep in mind that just because you're intuitively drawn to someone, or it feels very intuitive, or you feel like you're getting intuitive guidance that this is the right thing to do, it might be in the moment. And as we engage in our spiritual practice and connect with spirit, we can see more clearly if something is working out for us long term, if it feels good to continue to stay in that situation or relationship, or if it turns out that was a relationship that had a purpose, and that was to teach us a lesson, to we learn from each other, and that it was meant to be more of a short-term temporary thing. So I just wanted to put that out there before we transition into the collective reading. Let's transition now. Let's take a moment and transition to the collective reading for the week ahead. Excuse me. I'm now going to pull a few cards for the week of May 15th, 2023. Let's see what the collective energy feels like for this week and what spirits wants us to know. By the way, I use the term spirit, but use whatever term resonates with you for your higher power. Some people use the G word, God, Goddess, Divine Mother, Yahweh, Spirit, Source, Higher Power, Jesus, whatever word, universe, whatever word works for you. All right, tuning into the energy of this week. Oh, we got magician pop out. Isn't that funny? Because I was using the metaphor of magician for being a multidimensional manifestor, integrative mystic at the beginning of this show. Magician wants to pop out. What do we need to know? Spirit for this upcoming week, May 15th. We've got the new moon coming the end of the week. That's exciting. Mercury goes direct this weekend. That's exciting. Sunday. I'm pretty stoked about that, y'all. Pretty stoked. It's been a journey, this Mercury retrograde. It's been a growth period, as usual. I appreciate that. Okay, so we've got Magician, we've got Two of Wands, we've got Four of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. So yeah, general energy this week. Oh yeah, we've got the Two of Wands here. It's got some mental energy. We've got some creativity. I feel like a lot of us might be working with others. This is a card of partnership, the Two of Wands, to create success. We might be getting some new ideas. We might be moving forward after a period of things seeming stagnant or feeling like we're moving backwards. I feel like a lot of us are getting some ideas. We're getting maybe even physical gifts, but we're getting mental gifts and creative gifts from others, ideas how to move forward. And I feel like there is an exchange of energy that's happening this week. The lunar energy is waning until the end of the week when we have that new moon, I believe. And I'm feeling like, yeah, the energy is about, it feels like a partnership energy, a social energy. There's also a mental energy. And I feel like we're getting more organized and we're getting our plans together. I want to bounce to the Magician, which popped out. So I feel the Magician, I'm just making sure that I'm saying this correctly, that we do have a new moon. Yes, new moon is on May 19th. Okay. So the Magician, what are you saying to us, Magician? I feel like the Magician is saying it's time to bust out what you've been planning and put it together. You create the magic in your life, my friend. The Magician guides us. So create your own magic here. Put the elements together, make that magical concoction, and cast that magic spell and create the miracles and magic in your life with spirit. Excuse me. Together with spirit, we are able to actually take what we've been thinking about and apply it this week. Apply it. Create some results. The new moon is a great time of starting something, of taking action for the first time. Four Pentacles, people, is our guidance card. We are in Taurus. Excuse me, I'm just hitting the microphone here. We are in Taurus still, and we're moving into Gemini. I think it's May 21st. The sun moves into Gemini. So we've got that Tauran energy here. Security, money, value, possessions, earth energy, material plane energy. So Four of Pentacles, I feel like, is guiding us, folks, to pay attention to your values, what you value this week, and make sure that you're taking action in harmony, in alignment with your values. Do you value friendship, but you don't make time for your friends? Do you value creativity, but you're not making time for creativity? Do you value compassion, but you're not acting very compassionate in a relationship? Ask yourself, what are my core values? What are my top 3 values maybe? Is that expressing in my life? And I need to get back in alignment with some of that with my creative endeavors. So this is inspiring me to do that. And I also feel like, Four of Pentacles is guiding us, take our time. It's a card of building. It's a card of stability. So build it one step at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying to get everything done this week. Take it one step at a time and acknowledge the progress that you're making as you're making it. And you can really create something beautiful and bring something out into the world this week as you're aligning. We've got Heart Guardian and Moon. Heart Guardian, this is the ancestors, excuse me, Angels and Ancestors deck by the lovely Kyle Gray. Heart Guardian, love and let yourself be loved. And take note of intuitive messages, the moon. We've been talking about intuition today. Come on, y'all. So Spirit wants to make sure you're paying attention to your intuitive messages and trusting them. And here's that Heart Guardian. Yeah, I'm feeling that partnership energy. So it feels like a relationship-y week. It feels like there's some relationship stuff happening. Make sure that you're trusting and clarifying to the universe to bring you the people, the nurturing, the love that you deserve, and to open your heart to that. I feel like that's a message that wants to come through. We need to realize our worth and realize we are lovable. And that is part of manifesting love in our life. So realize you are lovable. You deserve to be loved. Feel, imagine, vibrate with what that's like to be loved. And that attracts that exchange of love in your life. If you feel like you're not expressing the love you want in your life, do something nice for someone this week. Reach out. Be the love that you want. Show the love to others that you want to see. So use that creative energy. Apply those genius ideas. Be your own magic. Create your own magic. Take action in alignment with your values. And remember to trust your intuition. Trust your intuition, my friend. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Anne Vivian at Integrative Mystic on mindbodyspirit.fm. Don't forget to check out my website, Creative Psyche Studio, for upcoming multidimensional manifesting groups. I have them online. You can jump in at any time. In person, dream groups, intuitive art, intuitive development. We've got some things in the works. I can't wait to connect with you at the next podcast, group video, or session. So thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, and I will connect with you soon.